Wheel spin from 30.
That's why you get this.
That's why you get this.
Welcome to the Texas Truck Channel. I'm Craig, and behind me I've got the, yes, you saw, you know what it is. It's the 2022 F-150 Lightning. And this is just gonna be a quick first drive. This is our first chance to get behind the wheel of it. We're not gonna be able to do a thorough review, but we're gonna have to drive several models today, or several trim levels. So stay with us and check it out.
All right, boys and girls, we're finally getting to drive the Ford Lightning. And everyone wants to know if it's fast or not, so we're gonna do a 0-60 run right now with our race box.
Right now?
Hit it. Whoa! Wheel spin. Whoa! Again, wheel spin.
And 60.
4.2 seconds.
Wow.
That's impressive. Oh, I'm glad we got that out of the way.
Yeah, glad we got that away.
We'll probably get arrested if we try that again. So.
Well, although we didn't need much room to get there, so,
no, that was in a alleged city block.
Yeah.
So, now, as suspension loads and unloads, you can feel the wheel spin. And then traction control will kick in and cut power. So that number might be better in like a prepped, non-urban environment. So
and we're going to drive the Pro later. This is the Lariat. This is going to be one of the faster versions because they're all dual motor, but this has got the bigger battery.
The bigger battery, exactly. So now they're all supposed to have around 560 horsepower. That's the real news here. Yeah. Supposedly they all have it. I don't know how true that is.
Well, the Pro has a little less horsepower. It's 400 and something.
Okay,
but they both have 775 pound-feet of torque.
That's what's the same. Okay, that's what it is. All right. So initial impressions, Craig.
It's an F-150.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And look, we've ridden this thing before, and we kind of said that then, and it hasn't changed. The brilliance of this is that it's the #1 selling vehicle in the world. That also is now electric.
Right,
exactly. That's all it is. So all the things that worked really great before still work great now.
Right.
Again, if you're going to be towing heavily, your range is going to be a real problem. Like with any EV, or by the way,
just like any gas or diesel,
your mileage cuts in half
when you tow. Right, everybody's reporting that your range is cut in half when you tow with this. Right. Just like any vehicle.
Exactly. And like any EV, the only challenge is finding the gas station or electric station to go to recharge.
Right. And that's the thing.
And that's the thing. And look, the auto industry has beat the infrastructure, which is cool. We got one of them done, right?
Yeah.
That's great. And look, when gas prices are $5 a gallon in Texas at the time of this filming, things like this are going to be in high demand.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so I feel like this is going to be the same thing where if you've got a level 2 in your house, it's just not going to be a problem in your daily life. You're going to drive this and never have a problem with range.
And we're not going to be able to get into, we're not going to be able to test the range or actual efficiencies on this particular, because this is just a quick first drive.
Right.
Now, interior-wise, what's different about the Lightning versus the regular F-150?
Okay, so much like the regular 150, you get the workstation, which we've made fun of for years. But better or worse, it's here. And it's cool that it's there. We just like to make fun of it. You still get the flippy-foldy shifter to make that possible, which is a bit Fisher-Price. But the big difference for Lightning, this is the biggest deal here, is you have a vertical tablet screen now. Yes. Much like the Mach-E, much like Tesla, it's this way, not that way.
Right.
So the regular 150 and the Pro, you get the smaller screen, you get the normal,
although it's the big screen in the regular F-150.
Right, so if you have a gas F-150, it's the big screen is the one you get in the base Pro Lightning. So that's pretty cool. That's really the only change here. Other than that, you still got your brake controller, you've got your Pro backup assist, you've got all-wheel drive. You've also got a mechanical locking differential.
And you get all-wheel drive on all of them.
You all-wheel drive on all of them, exactly. And the locking diff's optional.
Right.
Depends on your trim level and your choices there. But that's the thing that we've come to love in the 150 is that you can lock a diff with hitting a button, driver's in control, right? Whereas GM has the G80 that you have to make it spin first before it locks, and the Toyotas just don't want to lock unless you're like standing on your left toe or something very weird like that. Other than that, that's the only Lightning bits. Right. Can we talk about the history of Lightning real quick?
Oh yeah, please do.
For those that have seen Fast and Furious, which is everyone, the Gen 2 Lightning, which I think is what everyone thinks of when they think of Lightning, is the step side like 98 to 03, actually it was 04.
The supercharged one.
Supercharged 5.4. They had 380 horsepower. Okay, you could not get an extended cab, you could not get a 4-door. They did make a Harley Davidson that was a 4-door Lightning, effectively.
Basically, yeah.
This is faster than that.
Oh, way faster than that.
Because I'm going off memory here, don't criticize me, but I believe that was 5.4 to 60.
Well, we'll correct you down here.
We'll put the actual number down below. In the first, the Gen 2 Lightning. The Gen 1 Lightning was a 351 OBS, old body style F-150 that was not very fast at all, but it just appearance package. So this is, I think it's interesting. They've taken the Lightning and they're doing the EV thing with the Lightning Bolt, right? And they're not marketing this as an off-road beast. This is not a Raptor. This is not an FX4.
I haven't seen one yet, but,
I haven't seen one yet,
but not that you can't, because it does have all-wheel drive in the locker. The locker means business.
But you do have a belly pan to worry
You have
about.
a belly pan, and those dual motors sit low. That's why you only get about 9 inches of ground clearance in any trim.
Okay.
And that's going to be a little bit of an issue off-road. And articulation.
Because you have independent rear suspension. You let me right where I was going next. That's the major mechanical difference in terms of the chassis. You still have the same frame that you get in the other pickups, the fully boxed frame that's been great for years. But you lose, not only do you not have coil link in the rear, which the Raptor now has, you don't have leafs that all the others have. You have independent rear suspension like you would get on a Navigator or an Expedition.
Right.
All right, enough of that Lariat nonsense. This is the truck you really want. This is the Ford Lightning Pro, not the Lariat, not the XLT, and not the Platinum. What that means is you can spend less than $40,000 and you still get dual motor, which means all-wheel drive. You still get over 200 miles of range. You still get a crew cab short bed truck, which is the international symbol of I need a sedan but want a truck, and it works for everyone and does everything. It does all that stuff. All the 150 goodness is still here. You still even get a good infotainment screen and rear AC. It's hard not to love it. But you do miss a few things. You cannot get cloth or ventilated seats. You're gonna end up with vinyl, and there's a urethane steering wheel. There's enough there to make you want the trim above it, but it's enough to make you want to spend another 20 grand for the next level. We're not sure. Let's drive it and compare it to the other. All right, Craig, we're in the Pro, which actually I think we're both a little bit more excited about.
Oh yeah, if we're being honest, because we're $30,000 cheapskates.
But that's why we're gonna save 30 grand in the process of this. Now, what we've talked about, some things you don't get, and the biggest deal, and I'm probably gonna wrap with this thing the same way, is that you don't get a leather-wrapped steering wheel or any option to do that, which makes it feel cheaper than it is.
Or even cloth seats.
Or even cloth seats. But what you do get is a ton of brilliance, which is the 150 stuff. And you get dual zone climate control, you get all-wheel drive, and you made a good point a minute ago.
Rear seat.
Good luck finding a gas 150 with this many features for 40 grand.
Right, with four-wheel drive and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, all out of the way, I want you to divulge and tell the people, Craig, what's special about the motor in this thing?
So Ford went with, instead of an induction motor.
Motors, excuse me.
Motors.
Yeah.
They went with a permanent magnet motor. So there's debate on which one's the best to use, and the EVs use a bunch of different ones. We're not going to get all the specs here because there's a bunch of good YouTube channels out there to look that up.
That do specifically that, yeah.
And they're really good at it. But here's the bottom line. The permanent magnet electric motor gives you more torque initially at low down speeds.
Okay.
There is a little bit less efficiency with them, but Ford was less concerned about that because they just put a big honking battery in here, and they know what this truck's going to be doing, and they're less concerned about efficiency.
They're going to solve it with volume, right?
Right.
Okay.
It's paired to, speaking of big honking battery, it's a big honking battery. This is the standard one. It's a 90 kilowatt hour something battery, and the other one's 130 kilowatt hour. And they're made by Magna. The motors are actually unique to a lot of EV companies. They actually are built in-house by Ford. Ford is building those motors.
Oh, okay. So like we've driven the EV6 that was an outsourced motor.
Yep.
It was also not the permanent magnet, it was the other type.
Yep.
And
we've driven a Mazda that had an outsourced motor.
Outsourced motor as well.
Hitachi.
I'm talking about the motor, the drive motor itself.
Yes.
And I know like Lucid's doing their own as well.
Yep.
Those are kind of the only two. I think Tesla does their own as well.
Tesla.
But those are major players in this segment. And look, this is going to be too, and that's probably the biggest news, is how important and big this will be.
It shows that Ford's committed to the EV game.
That's it.
Because they can put it in their best-selling vehicle.
Right. Right, exactly. They're not putting this in, here's our subcompact, we made the EV work in the lightest thing. No, they put in the biggest one.
Look, you can get a Rivian, you can get Lordstown Motors is trying to get going with their truck, This is in the F-150.
Right.
This is good, they've got to do it right.
Yeah, of course.
One of the other things, whoa!
Okay, sorry, I had to do it. Oh, wait. Now, at the end of this video, we're going to show the 0-60 on the Pro. We'll compare that to the Lariat.
We'll see which one's quicker. And this is supposed to have a little bit less power, but we'll find out.
We'll see how true that
I think
is.
it might be lighter. We'll see.
Yeah.
The other thing Ford wanted to mention is they wanted to mention that the Max Tow package is more than just different spring setup or anything, or a wiring harness for a...
Okay, yeah, what is that?
There's additional cooling throughout the entire battery system so that it can actually hold up to the max loads over a long distance. So they don't want you to have any power cut back, and you actually be able to tow the thing.
Okay, and we've had EVs that have smaller power back when we get lower in Gs, or they're very temperature dependent. So I'm hoping that makes a difference. We're in North Texas. It's very hot right now and humid. And so we're, a lot of climates deal with cold snaps that affect the battery life. I think the heat will do the same thing here.
Heat does the same thing, and people don't talk about it. It's 104 degrees today.
Exactly. And by the way, while we've been sitting in the parking lot with this, that fan is throwing some air, let me tell you.
Yes.
So there's that. I think it's time for a quick 0 to 60.
Oh, absolutely. Let's see what happens.
And by quick, I mean probably very quick.
Okay.
We're going to do traction off.
Okay.
Ready?
Ready, set, hit it. Whoa! Okay, we'll see.
Jeez Louise. And 60. 3.9!
With wheel spin.
Quarter mile. Oh, we haven't hit the quarter mile yet.
Ooh. Wow. So yeah, 0 to 60 in 3.9. You heard it probably, the camera caught it with a lot of wheel spin.
No, that was traction off. We're being a little bit of a hoon here.
Yes.
And I loaded not the torque converter, but I loaded the brakes and the motors slightly for launch.
The independent motors that are not connected by a drive shaft.
Exactly. And as weight transfers, it gets light up front, and you can tell.
Yep.
It's that one. That's faster than the Lariat with the big battery.
Yes.
And maybe it's the weight advantage.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure the Lariat's got a lot more features, and it's definitely going to weigh more.
Oh, totally. And the wheel size as well. That rotational mass is definitely going to be higher on that.
All right, Brian. So as we end this, we've driven the Lariat, which is probably the volume seller. Although
probably,
I don't know if this might not be the volume seller.
Well, the Lariat's like 70,000, right?
Right.
This is 40. The XLT is like 60.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Platinum is dang near 90 when you get it loaded out. Which, for reference, we talked about this on the way over here. Rivian.
Mm-hmm.
They're trading punches.
They are.
And also, if Cybertruck, which is never going to happen, happens, it's going to be more expensive than we think as well. So I don't think they're off their mark at all on pricing.
Agreed. And so let's close with this. Which one would you get?
I would get this one, and I would swap the steering wheel. I would go buy a different steering wheel and put it on here.
So you'd be okay with the less range?
Yeah, because I wouldn't get rid of another petroleum option in my household.
Right.
That's the reality of it, because none of them are hitting that 400 mark, which is really if it had 400 advertised range, that means usable is about 300, which would cover my routine family trips to Houston.
Okay.
This is never going to do it in either of the trims. It's not going to be enough. I'm going to have to stop and charge at some point.
Right.
So at least for my particular route.
Right.
So
who's the Lightning for?
Oh, we've said this before on F150s. It's for everyone. It absolutely is. And if you're looking to evade gas prices and it's time to swap vehicles, and you can find one from SRP, which you cannot.
No.
Unless you've got one on order already.
Right.
You're going to love it.
You're going to love it.
You really are.
And lastly, Brian, what's your opinion on this? This is just opinion.
Uh-oh.
So y'all can trash us in the comments. Do you think Ford made the right move making it look like a normal F-150, relatively speaking, compared to the Silverado route where it looks like an Avalanche?
And this is personal opinion, and it's also the right opinion. Ford did the right thing.
Okay.
They made it look just like a truck, because not everyone wants to say, look at me. They just want the EV tech.
And with that, you've just made everybody mad at the entire internet. And thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more on Texas Truck Channel.
Oh, wait. We did this in the other Lightning video. Should the charge port be in the front or the back? This is
front.
This has stirred a lot of debate from viewers saying, oh, you got to back in your
No, it should be in the front. It should be in the front.
It should be in the front. But let us know what you think again. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.